a couple of weeks ago, I did a video about tariffs. Who pays tariffs? Are they really to bring back manufacturing jobs, or are they just some sort of bargaining chip? I want to do a really quick update because I just got another tariff bill for an import that just came in a few days ago. And I don't think Americans really know what is coming. The average citizen hasn't felt any pain yet. Business owners have. I owe thousands of dollars, but you probably haven't noticed anything at all. Shelves are still full at stores, prices are probably about the same, but that's about to change, and here's why. In case you didn't watch the first video, one of my side businesses is a hot sauce company called Olivium, and the sauce itself is made in Florida, but the bottles, boxes, and lids are all made in China. My shipment that just showed up a few days ago was ordered in December of last year. It's been 4 or 5 months now. It took them a while to manufacture it, and then it takes a month or two for it to arrive by boat. Trump has been adding tariffs slowly, 10 and 20% for fentanyl or something, and then 40% because of a trade imbalance. And then now, for some reason, we're up to 145%. And I was under the impression that I was gonna have to pay for that. And I had made up my mind, if those bottles arrive and I owe 145%, I'm just gonna throw them away. It's literally cheaper for me to throw them away than it is to pay that ridiculous tariff. Luckily, after speaking with my broker, I realized I didn't have to do that. And most importers have 2 options in this situation. If your products arrive and you don't wanna pay the tariff, you can either pay to hold them in the local warehouse if there's room, which there probably won't be room for long, but that could also cost thousands of dollars a month. Or you can pay to ship it back to China, and then you have to pay to hold it somewhere in China. Luckily, all of these Trump tariffs do not apply to imports that are currently on the water. My shipment hit the water right in the middle of Trump making all of these crazy tariffs, and then some days removing tariffs and then adding more the next day. So trying to figure out exactly what I owe has been impossible for me to do, but I certainly thought that my broker would be able to do it, being that that's his full-time job.
I don't know. I can't keep up with it. It changes every day. A different story comes out on the news. So we just can't keep up with it.
Anyway, here's the main reason I wanted to make this video. The Trump tariffs were not instantaneous. I thought they were. Everything you see on the news is like, oh, everything's shut down. It's not working anymore. But here's what I failed to realize, and here's what most of you probably didn't know either. It can take 2 to 3 months for a ship to get from China all the way to the US. And remember, these tariffs did not take effect if your boat was already on the water. And so we have just now arrived at the point where the 145% tariff is actually being implemented. My shipment just showed up a couple of days ago and I only owe 45%. So I had to make the decision, what do I want to do? Do I want to pay this tariff and get my products out? Or do I want to look into holding it at the port and hoping this all blows over? Hi, I have a shipment that has just arrived, and my importer was saying that there might be an option for me to pay to hold it somewhere in the port and kind of wait and see if these tariffs blow over. Do you know about that?
I would not know anything about that.
So that call didn't go well, and I have decided to pay the 45% tariff and just eat it. So that is painful for me. But for the average person who doesn't pay tariffs, you have not felt any pain yet at all. The stores are still full, the prices are still low, and the reason for that is because the tariffs are just now starting to take effect.
I just processed an entry for a client today that had a shipment leave China, but because it was taken off the ship in Panama Canal, put on another ship in Panama Canal to come to Florida, he was forced to pay the 145% tariff on his.
The response to my last tariff video was very positive. For the most part, everybody was respectful in the comments section, but I did get a few nasty comments. One guy in particular said that I was a traitor to my country because I had my hot sauce bottles made in another country. Believe it or not, all hot sauce bottles that you have in America are manufactured in another country. That's just the way it is. And every product that you've ever seen that has made in America stamped on it, it was probably only made in part in America. And I can guarantee you that even if that product was made 100% in America, it was made with foreign made tools. in a building that was partially made with foreign-made materials. That's just the way it works in this global economy. We are all working together to make things more cheaply and more efficiently.
I had discussions with another customer that imports on a regular basis out of China. She just called me while we're talking. They import elevator guide rails for home elevator systems. She says I can still pay 125% duty and still buy it cheaper from China than I can from here in the U.S.
One other nasty comment I read said something like, if the tariffs are enough to destroy your business didn't deserve to exist anyway. Certainly, that commenter does not care about my hot sauce at all, and if I went bankrupt tomorrow, the world will go on. It would bother me, but it probably wouldn't bother too many other people. But I want everybody who's watching this to understand just how connected we are with the world. Every product that you personally like, you may not care about my hot sauce, that's fine, but everything that you do like, every car that you enjoy, your television, your furniture, every single thing is somehow connected to other countries, and I would bet are directly connected to China.
Yeah, I've never seen anything in almost 40 years of doing this. I've never seen anything with duty rates like this before. It almost goes back to the original 1930 tariff agreement where everything was usually about 100%.
In the middle of editing this video, I stopped and went to my jiu-jitsu class, and one of my buddies is a toy maker. He has designed a ton of toys all by himself. He has them manufactured in China, and then he imports them in and sells most of them on Amazon. And I was talking to him about all this, and I said, what are you doing right now? He says everything is on hold. He's definitely looked at having his toys manufactured in other countries, but it hasn't gone very well. And of course, there are tariffs on every country right now. So he doesn't want to do anything until he actually knows what's going to happen in the future. And I said, what's your inventory look like? And he said many of his toys have less than a month of inventory left. And as I've told you guys, it can take more than a month to import products by boat. He says some of his products have 6 months of inventory, but at 145% tariff, he just can't make it work. I mentioned something that my import broker told me today about even the 10% tariff being too much for some people.
I mean, I got people trying to ship goods in from the Caribbean Islands, and I'm telling them they got to pay the 10% tariff on top of the regular tariff. Now they're looking at it going, we can't do that then. I said, I'm sorry, that's true, you can't do it.
Even the 10% tariff is deterring people from importing?
Yes, sir.
I asked my buddy to explain that. 10% doesn't seem like a lot. Why would that stop somebody from importing something? And he mentioned two things that I wasn't really thinking about. One, the reason why I'm willing to pay the 45% tariff is because what I'm actually importing is a small percentage of the finished product that I'm going to sell. So I can still make it work financially. But a lot of people are having finished goods manufactured overseas, and they have very thin profit margins. And so even the 10% is a big hit to them. And then he said something that was very scary to me. He said a lot of these small businesses that are importing all of these products have taken out massive loans. They don't have any money at all, and they are just barely getting the products in and selling them and making a very small profit. And if they could spread the tariff out and pay it over time, they'd be willing to do it. But if you're importing $1 million worth of stuff, you may not have $100,000 of extra cash to pay this additional fee. He said, what's gonna happen if this continues is all the small guys who can't afford to pay these gigantic tariffs in one lump sum, they're gonna hold, they're gonna wait and see what happens. And if the tariffs don't go away, everybody's inventory is going to run out, except for the big corporations that have lots of money. They're gonna pay the tariffs, and they're gonna be the only players left. And as all of their competition runs out of inventory, they can raise prices to whatever they want, because if you need that product, they're the only ones who have it. So anyway, hopefully you found this as interesting as I did. I thought companies have been paying 145% for the last few weeks now, but that's not true. It's just been for the last few days. Most companies still have some inventory left. How long do they have left until that inventory runs out is the question. I think we're all going to be feeling this very soon.